Hello students, in our today's lecture we are going to study about topic number 9.3 refraction. Now students, here you can see it is a glass slab, a transparent slab is there, and when a ray is incident on the surface of this glass, it gets refracted in the medium of glass. So students, at this point the refraction takes place, and here this surface of glass is the surface which separates the two medium. Here this is an air medium, and this number 2 is a glass medium. So it is clear that when a ray travels from one transparent medium to another transparent medium, it gets refracted. Now where this ray incident on the surface of the glass, at that point this is a normal to the surface, and so incident ray makes an angle with the normal. That angle is incident angle I. Now this ray gets refracted in the medium of glass, that is second medium, and as this is a normal line, this angle made by refracted ray with the normal is called the angle of refraction. Students, when a ray incident on the surface or on a line separating two medium, we can say two phenomena takes place. One is reflection and other is refraction. So here reflected ray is also shown, and we know that for the reflection the angle of incident and angle of reflection are same. But here you can see a refracted ray, that angle is different than the incident angle. Students, when a ray of light incident at the line separating two medium, even the absorption of the light ray takes place. Even there can be some dispersion of light. But here we are going to study about the refraction only. Now, according to law of refraction, according to this law of refraction, it is clear that the incident ray, refracted ray, and the normal, they all lie in a same vertical plane. You can see this is a vertical plane, just to show that this incident ray, refracted ray, and normal, they all lie in a same plane. This is same as that of the case of law of reflection. But the second point of this law says that the sine of angle of incident, that is sine I, and the sine of angle of refraction, that is sine R, they are related with the refractive index of the medium. You can see here this is the air medium, and if we consider the refractive index of air as n1 and that of glass as n2, then the law says that the n1 sin I will be equal to n2 sin r, and this is nothing but the Snell's law. So this is the second point of law of refraction. First point is the angle of incident, refracted ray and normal, they are in a same plane. And from the second point we can write that the ratio of sin I upon sin r is equal to n21, where n21 is nothing but it is n2 upon n1. It is the ratio of the refractive indices of the medium. So students, now it is clear that when a ray of light enters obliquely means you can see it makes angle with the normal. So we can call this ray as a oblique ray. From one transparent medium to another transparent medium, its direction changes at the surface separating two media or medium. This phenomena is known as refraction of light. And these are the laws of refraction, where this n21, in this law, this n21 is nothing but it is a constant which is called the refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. n21 means it is refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. And now you can see here this equation and this equation. Here n21 is common, so we can compare these two terms. So comparing these two terms we get this result, and if you cross multiply then you will get n1 sin I is equal to n2 sin r. This is nothing but the Snell's law. This equation is given by Snell. Now students, if a ray enters the denser medium, then it will bend towards the normal, and if it bends towards the normal, then angle of incident will be greater than the angle of refraction. Let us see from the figure. You can see this medium is air medium and this is a glass medium. This glass medium has more optical density than the air, and so when the ray travels from the rarer medium, rarer means less denser, its angle made by this normal, angle made with normal is this I, and when it is traveling in the denser medium, that is glass medium, you can see this angle made by this refracted ray with the normal is less than this I. So it is clear that when a ray travels from a rarer medium, that is less denser medium, to more denser medium, it will bend towards the normal. You can see it is shown by this. Actually the ray path of the ray was this. This is the actual path, straight line path, but from this point it diverted towards the normal, so it is bending towards the normal. Now the opposite case, if a ray is traveling from the denser medium to rarer medium, then what will happen? The angle of incident will be less than that of angle of refraction, just opposite case. So you can simply imagine, you can just from this figure also, you can just reverse the path of this ray. You can consider this as an incident ray. So this is a denser medium. So here the angle made will be angle of incident. So now after this point, it gets refracted. But as it is moving from this denser medium, that is glass medium, to air medium, then this angle will be the angle of refraction. So it is clear that now this angle of refraction is greater than the angle of incident. And so it is clear now that when the ray enters from rarer to denser, it will bend towards the normal, and so angle of incident is greater than angle of refraction. And in the opposite case, when the ray enters from denser medium to optically rarer medium, then that angle of incident will be smaller than the angle of refraction. Now students, remember one thing, that optical density and mass density, they are different things. Whenever the word optics is there or optical is there, then definitely that is related to the light. So optical density is the density which is related to the light, and mass density is the density which is related to the mass of the object. Students, the optical density of vacuum or free space is the lowest, which is equal to 1. And optical density of air, we know that air is a transparent medium, can be taken nearly equal to 1. It is not exactly equal to 1, it is slightly greater than 1. But we generally take that the optical density of air nearly equal to 1. Then water is also a transparent. Its optical density is around 1.33. Then glass. There are different types of glass. Their optical densities are around 1.5. And students, the highest optical density of any material is that of diamond. Diamond has the highest optical density, which is still greater than 1.5. Now, this optical density in terms of speed of light. Students, remember, even the speed changes when a ray of light travels from one medium to another medium. Its speed changes. Suppose the speed of light in the air medium, that is here in medium 1, is v1. Then when it enters the second medium, let its speed is v2. So it is clear that both these speeds, they are not the same, they are different. Here, if this ray of light is traveling from the rarer medium to denser medium, then this speed v1 is greater than the speed v2. That is, when a ray of light enters the denser medium, its speed decreases. And the opposite is, when the ray of light travels from denser to rarer, then what will happen? Its speed will increase. So speed of light is different in different medium, and so the refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1 in terms of speed of light is given by this formula. It is v1 upon v2. If it is refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium, then it is V1 upon V2. Now about absolute refractive index. Absolute means, if I say what is refractive index of glass, so if I want to find the absolute refractive index of glass, then I need to compare the speed of light in glass to the speed of light in free space, that is vacuum. You know that c is the speed of light in the vacuum, which is maximum speed, and which is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. And so refractive index of the medium, that is absolute refractive index, is equal to speed of light in free space upon speed of light in that medium. Students, absolute refractive index of medium is the refractive index of a medium with respect to vacuum. Hence, finally we can say that N21 means it is equal to N2 upon N1. In terms of angles, we can write this as sin I upon sin R. And in terms of speed of light in the medium, it is V1 upon V2. So all these above formulas are written in a single bracket, so that you can compare as well as you can remember this easily. Now about lateral shift. Students, let me explain you about lateral shift from this figure. Here there is a glass slab. This T is the thickness of the glass slab. So this is the thickness of glass slab shown. Suppose a glass slab is kept on a table and you are viewing this glass slab from sidewise. This is not the top view of the slab. Suppose the glass slab is resting on the table and you are looking from the side, one of the face from the side. Now this is the incident ray. When it strikes the surface of the glass, so we can say that this line is a line separating two medium. One is air and the other is glass medium. So you know that at this point what will happen? Refraction will take place. So here light will bend. You can see this is a refracted ray, and then it will travel in a straight line only. In the same medium, that is in the glass medium, it will travel in a straight line. Once again it incident here. Now what happens? This is a line separating two medium. One is glass medium and the other is air medium. So once again what will happen? It will change its direction. So this is the emergent ray now. It is emerging out of the glass. First of all, here it enters the glass and then here it emerges. So now at this first point, when it incident, you can see here this is the angle made by the incident ray with the normal, denoted by I1, and this is the angle of refraction here, R1, at surface 1. We can say this is the first surface and this is the second surface. Then after that it is moving in the same line. Once again when it is striking at the line separating two medium, as it is moving from the glass medium to air medium, that is from denser to rarer, it will bend away from the normal. This is the normal line and you can see it is bending away from it, actual ray is this, and its incident angle at this line is I2. This angle will be small, I2 will be small, and R2 will be larger because it is moving from denser to rarer. And here you can see it is moving from rarer to denser, so it is bending towards the normal. And so this I1 is greater and R1 is smaller, and this is the normal line. So now, students, lateral shift comes here. This is the actual ray incident at the surface of the glass. Actually, it should move on a straight path, but when it emerges out of the glass slab, it is emerging from this line. You can see from this point it is emerging, and so this ray has been shifted to how much distance? This much distance x. Actually, the ray which is incident, its path is this. This is the actual path. But when it came out of the glass slab, it is coming out from this line. So this is the path of the ray when it is coming out of the glass. And so it is actually shifted by x from its original path. And that is called the lateral shift. You can see the actual incident ray and the emergent ray, they are parallel only. They are parallel to each other, but they have shifted. The emergent ray has been shifted by some distance, and that is nothing but it is a lateral shift. So students, I hope you understand about lateral shift. In your textbook only this much is given, but for some competitive exam, if you need to find this distance lateral shift, then there is a formula. No derivation is there, simply you have to remember lateral shift x is equal to t into sine I1 minus R1 upon cos R1, where this t is the thickness of the slab and this I1 and R1, they are shown here in the figure. Now students, if this angle of incident and angle of refraction at first surface, if they are small, means if angle of incident is very small, then definitely angle of refraction will be also very small. In that case, we know that this difference of I1 minus R1 will be also very small. And if the angle is small, then we have written earlier also that sine theta is equal to theta only for small angle. So here also we can remove this sign for this condition. And if in this denominator, if this angle is very small, then cos theta, if theta is very small, then cos theta will be nearly equal to 1. And so we can consider this term equal to 1 in the denominator. So what is remain in the numerator? Only this term sign is removed due to this condition. So we get this. This same equation can be written as like this. Simply what we have done, we have taken out this I1 from the bracket. So when the I1 is taken out, mathematically we can write the same equation like this. Just check it. You have to do 1 or 2 steps to show this, and this is not difficult one. Same formula, this formula and this formula are same only, simply we have taken this I1 out, so it is written in this way. Now students, in a Snell's law, we know that according to Snell's law, this n2 upon n1 is sin I upon sin r. But if this I and R both are very small, then we can simply write this as I upon R. And that's why here we have written N2 upon N1 is equal to I1 upon R1. And if we use this condition here, then this equation will take the form this one. This equation can be written as this equation, that is x is equal to t into I1 in bracket 1 minus N1 upon N2. So students, I hope you understood about this. So remember this formula for competitive exams. Now students, another familiar observation of this phenomena of refraction, that is about real depth and apparent, that is virtual depth. Students, when the bottom of a tank filled with water is observed from the top, its bottom appears to be raised. Even this phenomena can be observed in a swimming pool. If you are observing the base or the bottom of a swimming pool from outside, then its bottom appears to be raised. That means the actual depth is different and the observed depth is also different. Observed depth will be less than the actual depth. So this is also one of the important fact about the refraction of light, because the bottom gets raised or appears to be raised because of refraction of light. Now students, here you can see, here there is an observer and this is a bottom. Here this N2 is nothing but it is a refractive index of water. This tank is filled with water and an observer is observing from outside, and refractive index of that medium of the observer, that is air. So now actual position of this bottom is shown by point O. Suppose an object is lying at the bottom, we can say. Then when we observe from outside, this object appears to be here. So this is actually an image of this object. So this much shifting is there. So here a vertical view is shown, and if you are viewing the same object from sidewise, you can see this is a side view. Here there is an object. So in that case also, this object, actual object, appears to be here at this position O dash. So there is a shifting of this much, and we can find the shifting by this difference. Which difference? Actual height minus apparent height. This h1 is nothing but the position of the image from the surface, and this h2 is the position of object from the surface. So this is an actual depth h2, and this h1 is a apparent depth, that is virtual depth. So now students, the ratio of apparent depth to the actual depth is equal to ratio of n1 upon n2, where n1 is the refractive index of observer, that is air here, and n2 is the refractive index of the medium where the object is there. So students, always remember, here on the left side you have to always write this for the image, that is virtual height, and here actual height or the object where it is lying. And here this n1 should be the refractive index of observer, from where the observation is taken, that should be there. Suppose if a fish lying at this position of the tank, and if that fish is observing this point P outside the water, then in that case here refractive index should be of water, because the refractive index of the medium of observation is taken. Observation is done now from water because fish is lying in the water. So in that case this will be the medium of water and this will be the medium of air. Here this ratio will remain same. This will be the image, this will the height for the image, and this will for the object. Now one another important phenomena related to this refraction of light, refraction through atmosphere. Students, here the example given is of sunrise or sunset. Now when we observe the sun rising from the east, actually it has not been risen, it is below the horizontal line or horizon, but still we see the sun already rised. It is because the actual rays coming from the sun, when they enter the atmosphere of the earth, they get refracted, and so its image is appeared at this point. So actually sun has not risen, but still we can observe the sun, and this is not the sun, actually it is its image which we observe, because there is a phenomena taking place here at the atmosphere. Similarly, during sunset, actually in actual manner the sun has already set, but still we can observe the sun because of refraction. So students, if there is no atmosphere, then we can see actual sunrise and actual sunset, but whatever we are saying, that is not the actual sunrise and actual sunset, it is the apparent or the virtual sunrise or the virtual sunset, because even the sun which we observe, that is not a real sun, that is the image of the sun, which is the result of refraction. And so sun rises 2 minutes earlier than the actual sunrise, and sun sets 2 minutes after the actual sunset. So due to refraction of light through atmosphere, we get 2 plus 2, that is 4 minutes of more time of sunlight. Now about example number 9.5. Given that the sun takes 24 hours to rotate once about its axis, and here we want to find the time taken by the sun to shift by 1 degree when viewed from the earth. So students, we know that sun spin on its axis. So due to its spin motion about its axis, and so if the sun is observed from this point, then its line of action, that is rays coming from the sun, when it is observed from here, then after some time this point will shift here due to spin motion of the earth, and once again when the sun is observed, then it makes some angle here. Let this angle made is 1 degree. So in that case we want to find what is the time taken for this point to shift from A to B, which makes or subtends an angle of 1 degree at the sun. So now students, it is clear that if there is 24-hour time taken is 24 hour, then shifting will be 360, because we know that earth will complete its rotation in 24 hour, and so one rotation is completed, then the angle changed is 360. Same can be written in terms of radian, that is 2 pi radian. 360 means 2 pi radian. So now if the change in the angle is 1 degree, then what will be the time taken? Now students, 1 degree is equal to 2 pi by 360 radian. Why we need to convert this into radian? It is because we know that this degree is not SI system of unit. So we need to convert degree to radian, because radian is the SI system of unit. So now cross multiplication, 24 hour to this and T to this. So just make the T subject and you will get 2 pi by 360 into 24, that is this 2, divided by 2 pi. If you calculate this, you will get T is equal to 1 upon 15 hour. If you want to convert this hour to minute, then we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So we have simply multiply by 60. So this hour is converted to minute, and that is equal to nearly equal to 4 minute. So for shifting of 1 degree, that is from A to B, the time taken is 4 minute. So students, I hope you understood this example also. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.